There's a story unfolding up in Chicago right now that you may or may not have heard of, but I can guarantee you will hear of this story in the future. Now, the story involves a 55-year-old white lifeguard who just shot two black teenagers, ages 15 and 14, killing one of them and seriously injuring the other. Now, the details of this story are really foggy right now because, of course, we have the media trying to put their spin on it. We have people in the streets putting their spin on it. And the story that is going around is basically the usual thing that you would expect. A racist white man just shoots people for no reason, right? That's what the story is. Now, the situation was caught on video. I will post the video over on X. You could go follow me over there if you want to see it. For obvious reasons, I'm not going to post the whole video here. But in the video, you see the lifeguard. He appears to be working on his bike. He's like on his hands and knees. He has a backpack. You see a group of like teenagers approach him. They walk close to him. One of them looks like he's reaching into a bag. The other one looks like he's pointing. I don't know exactly what was going on. All I know is that the lifeguard reacts to whatever is happening by standing up and firing shots at the teenagers. Now, the story on the ground and the story that a lot of the media is running with is like, oh, this was just totally unprovoked. But the man is claiming that it was self-defense. He is claiming that he had an altercation already with this group of teenagers and they tried to steal his bike. I don't know if they assaulted him or what have you. Like I said, the details are still unclear. We got one side saying, hey, this just happened for no reason. Nobody did nothing. And then you have the 55-year-old who has been arrested, by the way. You have him saying that, hey, I was defending myself. I already got into an altercation with these kids outside of the pool. I tried to separate myself from the situation. They tried to steal my belongings. And then they came up bothering me again. So I fired off some shots. So we got two conflicting stories going on right now. And just looking at the details, knowing that race is involved, you know how things are in America right now. So this story has the potential to definitely blow up and to stir up a lot of problems and, you know, bring tensions even higher than they already are. But I want to go ahead and roll this news clip for you where they discuss this situation briefly, and then I'll be right back to give you more thoughts of my own.
Tanya and Terrell, Mayor Brandon Johnson just left Douglas Park about an hour ago after meeting with park staff, children, and families here in light of yesterday's shooting. A spokesperson tells me the mayor, Park District Superintendent Carlos Ramirez Rosa, and Alderwoman Monique Scott wanted to meet with staff and counselors supporting the youth here at the field house as summer camps are continuing this morning. This after two teens were shot Thursday evening after summer camps were done for the day. A 15-year-old has died and a 14-year-old is still fighting for his life at Stroger Hospital. We are told by family members the 14-year-old is cousins with Laquan McDonald, who was shot and killed by Chicago police back in 2014. His uncle is Pastor Marvin Hunter of Grace Memorial Baptist Church. Now, according to a police report obtained by our ABC7i team, the alleged gunman is a lifeguard with the Chicago Park District. The report says the lifeguard got into an altercation with the teens after believing they were going to steal his bicycle and then allegedly fired at them. The report also notes the lifeguard is a concealed carry license holder. Now, the Park District just released a statement saying in spite of this tragic event, Douglas Park remains a safe and vibrant community anchor. As we move forward, it says our focus remains on safety and ensuring our parks continue to be places of peace, connection, and community. Now, meanwhile, the pool is closed here today out of respect for those impacted by this shooting. We can also tell you that we continue to reach out to Chicago police for more information about this shooting, what happened here yesterday. But as of right now, they say no one is in custody, as this is very much still under investigation.
A man charged in the shooting of 2 teens in Douglas Park will appear in court today.
WGN has obtained the video of that deadly incident. Christine Flores live in the newsroom with the latest for us on that. Christine.
Sean and Jewel, good morning. We now know the suspect was a lifeguard with the Chicago Park District. He has been in custody since the shooting and is now facing a number of felony charges in this case. Now, we do want to warn you, some of the footage you're about to see may be disturbing to watch.
There is absolutely no justification to shoot a child in the back anywhere, let alone a public pool and park. But we'll get to the bottom of it.
At a press conference at Grace Memorial Church Friday, Jeff Neslin, the attorney representing families of the teens, said they were leaving the park after cooling off at a pool. He strongly denied any claim that there was an altercation or threat made towards the suspect. Chicago police announced multiple charges for 55-year-old Charles Leto, including first-degree murder and attempted first-degree murder. He's accused of shooting the 2 teens Thursday evening. According to the medical examiner, 15-year-old Marjay Dotson was shot in the back and died from his injuries. 14-year-old Jeremy Hurd, a sophomore at UIC College Prep, was shot in the neck and remains hospitalized. The teen's attorney commented on the charges, saying in part, "The families take solemn relief that the justice system is now engaged with the announcement of criminal charges against the shooter." According to the Sun-Times, Leto told police he has a concealed carry license and claimed he fired his gun after the teens allegedly followed him, attacked him, and tried to steal his bike, saying he acted in self-defense. Now, the attorneys for the teens insist they were unarmed and is calling on prosecutors to consider pursuing hate crime charges. Leto's legal team declined to comment. His detention hearing is scheduled for this afternoon.
So here's a few important things to note. The security footage that has been released is very short, only like 10 or 15 seconds long. So it does not tell the whole story, but it is being shared as if it does tell the whole story. In the video, as I said, you see a couple of teenagers approach the lifeguard before he stands up and he opens fire. Now, from that quick little bit of footage, I can't necessarily see anything that would indicate that the lifeguard's life was in immediate danger. But I also have to keep in mind that this is Chicago. The kids out there in Chicago are built different. They're walking around with Glocks with switches and guns, the likes that you have never seen before. I kid you not, there are teens on O Block or whatever in Chicago right now that have RPGs and grenade launchers. I'm not even joking. So you really can't play around with the kids out there in this area or you're going to wind up dead. And I feel like the lifeguard probably knew that. I'm not sitting here trying to make excuses for him because I still don't know if what he did was really called for. But like I said, I don't know what type of information he had. We don't know what happened prior to the security footage. Now, the families are saying that there was no altercation. But of course, the families always come out and say that, you know, their kid didn't do anything wrong and stuff like that. So we're used to hearing that excuse. The lifeguard claims that there was a prior altercation. Before you see what happens in the security footage, that there was already a prior altercation with these teenagers before, you know, the footage even begins in an entirely different area. So you gotta, you know, I guess at this point we gotta see, hey, who do we want to believe? Do we believe the lifeguard or do we believe the family of these kids? Now, to be a lifeguard in this area in Chicago, you got to think that to do that, you must want to help the community or something. You wouldn't catch me dead being a lifeguard at some random public pool in Chicago. That's the last place I want to be. But nevertheless, that's what he was doing. And from what I'm hearing, there are witnesses on the ground that do say there was an altercation before what we saw happened in the video. And from what I'm also hearing, there have been previous problems at that pool involving the same lifeguard. There have been threats on his life. He has had to shut down the pool early. I believe it was just last summer. In fact, let me go ahead and take a look at this exact quote for you guys so I don't misconstrue anyone's words. Here is the exact quote from someone close to the situation. I believe last year that same man had an altercation at that same pool involving troubled youth, and he had to close and shut down the park early toward the end of summer due to the same acts and threats of violence against him and his staff. So basically, these staff members, these lifeguards, these people working at the park, they have been getting threatened by the little badass kids in Chicago. Sometimes they get beat up, they get threatened. There's all types of fights and violence happening at the pools and at the parks. And this guy has been involved in some of those situations. And he has had to shut down the pool and shut down the park. I believe, he had to shut it down for almost the whole entire summer because things were getting too crazy. And now here we are. We have another situation where I guess things got crazy from what he claims. And it eventually ended up with him pulling out his firearm and letting loose on a couple of these Chicago teens. So, looking at this story, and from what you've heard and from what I've heard, you could already see how this has the potential to blow up and become another one of those big stories in America. Give it a few days. I think it's still starting to spread around. And you're going to have people out here whiling out about this story. Now, the lifeguard is currently behind bars. I believe the teenager who was critically injured, he is still alive. So I guess that's good news. But we're going to have to figure out what exactly happened here, because this story is definitely more complicated than just, this is an evil white racist guy who decided to shoot teens. No, he works with teens and works with youths. He is a lifeguard. So just to act like this happened out of nowhere, I'm not buying that. I'm not buying that there was no problems beforehand. He just jumped up and started shooting people. I'm not buying that narrative. Now, if that's what happened, I'll be happy to tell you, and we could criticize this guy. We could wish the worst for him, or what have you. Like I said, I'm not here interested in defending him. I'm just here interested in the truth. And I think that the truth is way more complicated than the race-baiting BS that they're putting out there, that this just happened because of white supremacy and racism. No, I think this happened because there was a history of violence and crazy stuff going down at this pool and at these parks. And eventually it ended up with some people losing their lives. But there's a lot still going on in this story. There's still a lot to be revealed. I'll keep my eye on it. For now, you guys let me know what you think about it down in the comments below. While you're down there, hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe, ring that notification bell. If you would like to donate, you know how. But with that being said, I'll talk to you all very soon in the next one.